The barbell crashed to the floor with a deafening clang, shattering the rhythm of the gym's hum. Ethan's breath caught as Lucas's hands, slick with sweat, slipped from the bar, their fingers grazing in a fleeting, electric touch. In that split second, the world narrowed to the heat of their proximity, and Ethan knew nothing would ever be the same. Ethan Carter had always been the guy who kept his head down. At 25, he'd carved out a quiet life in Portland, Oregon, working as a graphic designer by day and hitting the local gym by evening. His apartment, a cozy loft in a gentrified warehouse district, was his sanctuary until Lucas Navarro moved in next door. Lucas was everything Ethan wasn't: bold, unapologetic, magnetic. At 26, with jet black hair and a smile that could disarm anyone, Lucas carried himself like he owned every room. He'd introduced himself on moving day with a firm handshake and a grin that lingered in Ethan's mind for weeks. "Hope you're ready for some noise," Lucas had teased, gesturing to the dumbbells he was hauling inside. Ethan, flustered, had mumbled something about not minding and retreated to his sketch pad, heart racing for reasons he couldn't name. They'd started lifting together by chance. Ethan, usually solitary in his workouts, had spotted Lucas struggling with a heavy deadlift one evening at Iron Pulse Gym, a gritty spot favored by locals. "Need a hand?" Ethan had asked, surprising himself. Lucas's grateful nod led to an hour of shared reps, banter, and the kind of ease Ethan hadn't felt in years. Soon, their gym sessions became routine, a ritual of sweat and stolen glances. That evening, as the barbell hit the floor, Ethan's pulse thundered. Lucas laughed it off, wiping his hands on his shorts. "Guess I owe you one for saving my ass," he said, his voice low, teasing. Ethan tried to laugh, but his throat was tight. The graze of Lucas's fingers had ignited something, a spark he'd spent years burying. Ethan had known he was gay since high school, but growing up in a small Midwest town had taught him to keep it locked away. Portland was different, vibrant and accepting, but old habits died hard. Lucas, though, was out and proud, his confidence a quiet challenge to Ethan's guarded heart. Every shared lift, every brush of skin, chipped away at the walls Ethan had built. As they racked the weights, Lucas lingered, his gaze steady. "You're stronger than you look, Carter," he said, and Ethan felt the words land deeper than they should. They walked home together under the city's amber streetlights, the air thick with unsaid things. Ethan wondered if Lucas felt it too, the pull, the possibility. At their building, Lucas paused at his door. "Same time tomorrow?" he asked, his eyes searching Ethan's. Ethan nodded, heart pounding, and slipped into his apartment. Alone, he leaned against the door, replaying the moment their hands had touched. He didn't sleep that night. The gym became their battleground, a place where tension simmered beneath every rep. Ethan noticed everything now, the way Lucas's muscles flexed under his shirt, the way his laugh echoed over the clang of weights. Their workouts grew longer, filled with playful challenges, betting push-ups, racing sprints on the treadmill. But every touch, every shared water bottle, felt like a step toward something dangerous. One rainy evening, Lucas invited Ethan over for a post-workout beer. His apartment was a mirror of Ethan's, same exposed brick, same industrial charm, but it felt alive with Lucas's energy. Vinyl records lined the shelves, and a half-finished painting sat on an easel. "You're an artist too?" Ethan asked, surprised. "Trying to be," Lucas said, handing him a coal bottle. "You should see my sketches sometime." Their fingers brushed again, deliberate this time, and Ethan's breath hitched. Lucas didn't pull away. Instead, he stepped closer, his voice soft. "You ever feel like you're running from something?" Ethan, the question hit like a punch. Ethan wanted to say yes, to confess the fear that kept him from admitting what he felt. But he froze, the weight of years of silence too heavy. Lucas didn't push, just smiled and changed the subject. But the moment lingered. Days turned into weeks, and the tension grew unbearable. Ethan caught Lucas watching him in the gym, his gaze lingering too long. At a local bar one night, celebrating a friend's birthday, Lucas's knee pressed against Ethan's under the table. It wasn't an accident. Ethan's heart raced, but he didn't move away. The world felt like it was tilting, and he wasn't sure if he wanted to steady it or let it fall. Then came the night that changed everything. They were spotting each other on bench presses, the gym nearly empty. Lucas leaned over to adjust Ethan's grip, his face inches away. "You're gonna kill it," he murmured, his breath warm against Ethan's cheek. Ethan's arms trembled, not from the weight, but from the proximity. He pushed the bar up, Lucas's hands guiding him, and when he racked it, their eyes locked. For a moment, neither moved. Then Lucas's hand rested on Ethan's shoulder, lingering, and Ethan felt the world shift. Ethan couldn't keep running. The next evening, he knocked on Lucas's door, heart hammering. Lucas opened it, shirtless, paint smudged on his hands from a late-night art session. "Hey, you okay?" he asked, concern flickering in his eyes. Ethan took a breath. "I need to tell you something." The words spilled out, his fear, his feelings, the way Lucas had unraveled him. Lucas listened, his expression unreadable, and when Ethan finished, silence hung heavy. Then Lucas stepped forward, closing the distance. "I've been waiting for you to say that," he whispered, and before Ethan could process it, Lucas kissed him. It was soft at first, tentative, then deeper, a release of everything they'd held back. Ethan's hands found Lucas's waist, and the world fell away. They spent the night talking, laughing, kissing, unraveling each other's stories. Lucas had grown up in Miami, out since he was 16, navigating a world that wasn't always kind. Ethan shared his own journey, his fear of rejection, his move to Portland to find himself. For the first time, Ethan felt seen. But the world outside wasn't as simple. Ethan's family, still in Ohio, didn't know he was gay. His mother's voice echoed in his mind, her subtle judgments about lifestyles. Lucas, too, carried scars, estrangement from his father, who'd never accepted him. As they lay together, Ethan wondered how they'd face a world that didn't always understand. Their relationship bloomed in secret. Stolen moments in the gym, late nights in Lucas's apartment. But secrets have a way of unraveling. At a neighborhood block party, a friend of Ethan's, tipsy and oblivious, made a joking comment about their bromance. The crowd laughed, but Ethan's stomach twisted. Lucas's hand brushed his, a silent reassurance, but the fear lingered. Then came the call from Ethan's mother. She was visiting Portland, eager to see his life. Panic set in. Lucas urged him to be honest, but Ethan wasn't ready. The visit was a tightrope walk, Ethan dodging questions, Lucas keeping his distance. When his mother left, Ethan felt hollow. He'd hidden who he was. Again. Lucas, hurt but patient, gave him space. "I'm not going anywhere," he said, but Ethan could see the strain in his eyes. The gym, once their sanctuary, felt heavy with unspoken words. Ethan started skipping sessions, burying himself in work. But the distance only made him miss Lucas more. Then tragedy struck. Lucas's estranged father suffered a heart attack, and Lucas flew to Miami. Ethan wanted to go with him, but fear held him back. Alone, he realized how much he'd taken Lucas for granted. He sent a text, "I'm sorry. I'm all in. I promise." Lucas's reply was simple, "Come to Miami." Ethan boarded the plane, heart in his throat. Miami was vibrant, chaotic, a stark contrast to Portland's quiet charm. Lucas met him at the airport, his eyes tired but warm. They drove to the hospital in silence, Lucas's hand resting on Ethan's knee. At the hospital, Lucas's father was frail but awake. Ethan watched Lucas navigate the tension, his strength a quiet force. Later, in a quiet moment, Lucas's father surprised them both. "I haven't been a good dad," he said, voice shaky. "But I see how you look at him, Lucas. Don't let that go." It wasn't full acceptance, but it was a start. Back in Portland, Ethan made a choice. He called his mother, voice trembling, and told her everything. Her silence was deafening, but when she spoke, it was with cautious love. "I don't understand," she said, "but I want to." It was enough for now. Ethan and Lucas rebuilt their rhythm, stronger this time. The gym became their sanctuary again, but now it was more laughter, shared dreams, plans for future. Ethan started sketching again, inspired by Lucas's passion. Lucas's paintings grew bolder, infused with their love. A year later, Ethan and Lucas stood on a cliff overlooking the Oregon coast, the Pacific crashing below. They'd driven out for a weekend, their first trip as a couple. The wind whipped through Ethan's hair as Lucas pulled him close, their hands intertwined. "I used to think strength was about lifting weights," Ethan said, his voice soft. "But it's this being here, with you, no matter what." Lucas smiled, his eyes bright with love. "You're my home, Ethan," he said, and they kissed, the world fading around them. They moved in together, blending their lives, Ethan's sketches on the walls, Lucas's records spinning late into the night. They faced challenges, disapproving glances, family tensions, but they faced them together. Ethan's mother visited again, this time meeting Lucas, and though it was awkward, it was progress. Lucas's father sent a painting as a peace offering, a small step toward healing. Their story wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. The gym, where it all began, remained their ritual, a reminder of the moment their hands slipped and their hearts collided. They'd built something stronger than fear, something worth fighting for. As they stood on that cliff, Ethan made a silent promise to love fiercely, to live openly, to never hide again. Lucas squeezed his hand, and Ethan knew he'd keep that promise. For both of them.